Look on me, get in the flash. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! With the flash actually? No. Okay guys, don't get excited, okay? We can see this in a way. What's that color? Wait, 60 seconds. Targa! The redemption Targa! These guys. Guys. It's not the redemption, they kicked you, those fucking stupids. Yeah, but you lose! These idiots. Let's fucking go, I'm so proud of you guys, okay? You guys stay so fucking good, okay? If you don't kill it, nice! Get out! Wait, yes!
And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new king. Somebody who was finally able to contest G2, finally able to close out games, because let's be honest, Fnatic should have won last year in the summer, but they didn't. They couldn't close games that were actually even in better position than these games were. Now I'm gonna be honest, G2 didn't play the greatest today. Caps was lackluster. Skewmont really hated to hit the smites, like bro simply did not want to make Yike look bad and just like failed every single smite fight in existence. It is what it is. It's a high pressure game, it's a final, and smiting it's pretty hard when you're sweating, and he was sweating today quite a lot, and your best players not doing so well is not the greatest. Now I'm gonna say KC looked today better than they looked yesterday. Like yesterday Fnatic made it close, even though that game 5 draft was like the worst thing I have ever seen in a pro play game. Like legit, I don't know if you think like Volibear, Misfortune, Lulu, it's a draft you can actually win a game with. It's like I will just like dodge games in Master Elo if that was my team draft. But it is what it is. We will not take anything away from Karmine Corp because they finally did it. Now, while I'm happy they get the chance to play at an international event fast enough in their careers, it's important for Kalist, it's important for his development, right? Because it's important for you to get that taste of the real pain fast. Like you really need to take that in very fast to actually develop as a player. I do hope him getting crushed over there, because it will happen. You need to understand, it will happen. If they keep this form, I think they will do decent, right? I will think they might even take games from like these tier 1 teams, right? Because it's just like the best of the best. It's very hard. I do think they are simply better than NA. NA this season looked like absolute trash. It was like disgustingly bad how bad that region looked. So I don't think NA has any chance against us. I'm sorry to say, it's just not a good season for them, right? The team that won, like, come on, Yike looks like 100 times better than TL alone, like just alone. So yeah, that being said, it's pretty sad G2 was not like at the peak, because it would have been a much more enjoyable series if G2 like played actually good League of Legends, because this series felt a lot like G2 versus NRG. You know, it felt like G2 was not here. They were not here to play. They have series like this in this iteration with Broken Blade, Caps, and Hansama. I'm gonna say, because right, you changed the IQ, you changed Mickey X, but it felt like the same series. They were never good on rotation, and that's a huge strength for G2. They feel like they can move on the map in a way that even takes away from the skill gap when they go versus Korean teams or versus Chinese teams. Like the fact that they know the map and know the movement so well actually fills some gaps in skill, in mechanical skill, when they go against these good teams. But today, and like series like NRG, this G2 has series where they just like look like this, where they get gapped, but in such ugly way. These games were not even close. Like I was watching a little bit in just like what happened into these games. I was watching replays. I was like just like watching the drafts, watching everything. Like game 3 was just like a complete stomp with one of the most beautiful ultimate Gnar I have seen in a very long time. Like this ultimate, the last big ultimate I can remember was the Faker stolen Gnar ult with Sylas. If you remember that ult, that was like actually something that I can remember. But this kind of ultimate I will remember for quite a while. Now it was not so important. I think like that fight is already won. Kana just like blasted them into oblivion with that ult alone, right? It is what it is. But every part of this series, just like Caps was not in it. Like, right? Vladdy, good job to him. He actually gapped Caps and he gapped Humanoid. Like, he gapped Humanoid so hard. Like, it's not even close. And I'm so glad to see that we finally have new blood in the scene, right? Kalist, young prodigy. Vladdy, young prodigy. Kana is pretty young himself. Yike took the experience he had from G2 and brought it here, and it shows. And I'm not the biggest fan of Targamas. I have my doubts about him still, even if after this. I do think his team is insanely good, and Kana actually proved he was a SKT player at one point that had potential, because to get to SKT you need to have potential, and he does, and it shows, right? It shows. With that being said, right, I really hope they don't get bad experiences at international tournaments in a way that because you expect when a team goes there they will come back stronger, but it not always happens that way, right? I've seen teams that look so well in spring or whatever we call them here, like spring, winter, so the early part of the year, went to international tournaments, they look like the greatest team ever, and then they just like seem worse and worse and worse, not taking everything. Now I think Vladdy and Kalist are hungry. You're gonna call me crazy, but the reason I like Vladdy so much is because this guy, you know who I remember when I'm watching this guy? This guy is young Perks. This guy is Perks. This guy finally has the fire that Perks had. The reason I loved Perks, the reason I loved G2 even more when Perks was in it, it was not because Perks was like the greatest player ever or he was just like diffing. He seemed clutch when it mattered, and he seemed hungry to be the best, and he was thinking he was the best, and that's a mentality. That's a mentality that is so important. That's the mentality you see in like Ronaldo. That's the mentality you see in Messi. That's the mentality you see in Kobe, in LeBron, in every great, in every sport. You see this mentality of like hungriness, of like power in the eyes. I know I'm the best. I'm gonna go and prove that I'm the best, and I will just like smash you. I don't care who the fuck you are, what your name is. I don't care who you are. You know, they just win. They just do that. You know, for a little while, humanoid made me think he might be the next Perks, because I'm not saying Perks is like better than Caps overall, right? Caps has hunger himself. He's a great grinder. He did so much good for this region overall. But I never saw like that fire into Caps, right? That I saw into Perks. I still remember his series after 2018 RNG. He was just like, I'm burnt out. I think I played for 12 hours non-stop. Like, it's just like, but he was hungry. He was like mad for that win. And Caps had it, but he's also like a little bit joking around. And like this, it's like Vladdy gives me that. I hope great things come from this player, because you need to understand G2 is the old guard. I love Broken Blade. I love Caps. I love Hans Summer, right? Qmont, he has time to prove himself, right? He's in the beginning. Lebrov, I still don't know about him. It's like, whatever. He has great moments. He can be good, but like, but they are the old guard. They are getting old, you know. Yike is not young himself. He's like 25, like Reds remember, right? He's up there. But like these young players, like to have a player who is 18 years old into Kalist and actually win a finals just shows you that age is not important. If you are mature as a person and if you have a goal in mind, you can just make it. I hope they keep making it. At least I hope they will always contest like a 50-50. I don't care who gets into the final with them. I want them to contest. Now I'm gonna touch a little bit on Fnatic as well, because they took KC yesterday to a 5 game series. Even though I think Fnatic, this KC played much better today. G2 dropped a little bit in level, but I still think like this G2 versus the Fnatic yesterday, it will be a pretty close series. You know, I feel like Fnatic lacks the maturity and lacks the conviction, and Humanoid, it's such a big issue. I don't care if he's like better than anybody in the world mechanically, because people will tell me about that. I don't care if he's like the mastermind behind, like, I don't know, the greatest plan in the world, because people again say that about him, like he's smart, he knows how to do that and that and that and that. He just lacks what Vladi has. He lacks what Perks had. He even lacks what Caps has. He's just unserious. And ever since he came into this team like stagnated to like, I don't care. Because you need to remember, around Humanoid and Razor, every single player was changed. How the fuck, after every single player is changed, your gameplay looks the same? Nothing changes. It's like insane. How can you stay the same as a team after you changed everything except 2 pieces? Then it means that those 2 pieces alone are just like the part of the problem. And I think Razor showed a lot that at times he can actually be the best. I don't remember the last time that I can say that about Humanoid. Like, I simply do not remember the last good games I actually saw from Humanoid where he actually like did something impressive was like those games on Azir like fucking years ago at Worlds. And ever since then, and the hype was so big around him. Sure, he won some series, like even yesterday he was like 14 and something on Aurelion Sol, and I still felt like I don't care. If I see this Vladi on 14 kills, I think the game is done. I think the game is done. If I see Caps on 14 kills, I think the game is done. I don't think they lose. I don't think they ever lose. When I see Humanoid on 14 games, I hope his team plays well, because he will still die like, I don't know, like he doesn't give a fuck. That doesn't give a fuck mentality just like disgusts me, and I'm sorry, but I just like, I don't fuck with it. I just like, I hate it on screen. It just like pains me because I want Fnatic to do well. We need in this region 3 teams that are actually insane. We need a G2 that it's at peak. We need this Karmine Corp to hold this form and improve upon it, and we need Fnatic or another team to fucking rank up and just like do it, because you cannot not do it this year. Oscarinin looks good. I know people just like love to hate on Upset, but he played well. Mickey X can int, but you know he can create the chaos necessary to actually win games versus better teams, and he does that, and he did that yesterday too. They won bots versus Kalist, something that Hansama and Lebrov didn't do today, for example, right? It's just like Humanoid and Razor, if they don't like just like smash the opponents, they will just int you the game. I'm so just like sick of hearing, bro, but Upset is not with his team. Yeah, because Upset maybe realize we are not in a position of advantage right now. We need our Upset. We need to be a little bit calmer because we still have good hands. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bro, but every single game Fnatic won, Upset was like 8-0, 8 something. And even in that games they didn't won, he was still having good scores, good farm. I feel like Humanoid and Razor played like they don't have another guy in the team that can carry. They play like it's the end of the world every single time. It's not like what I Will Dominate said, like they lack discipline. I think like they just don't think anybody expect them to can carry a game. This is what I feel from them. Like they have zero trust in Oscarinin, who is like, my heart bled when I had to watch him yesterday, even more on that game 5 when you see him on Camille doing pretty okay into Renekton, even though that Renekton was gifted kills, but his team still runs down every single goddamn play. Like it's like the worst feeling in the world. He just like, well, I think we are losing. Even though I'm playing good, I think we are losing. And then I'm watching Volibear running into people without flash, just like suiciding on cooldown, and my mid laner is getting 1v1 on mid a lot, and then he makes a good trade, and everybody's, well, that trade was actually pretty good from Humanoid. Yeah, but he already fucked up. he already fucked up. Like, how can you compare Vladi game 1 on Talia, right? Like Vladi game 1 on Talia with Humanoid's game on Talia yesterday. Humanoid's game on Talia was atrocious. Was absolutely dog shit. Dog shit. He legit like had luck on that Aurelion Soul. Like legit, even in the game with Yone, he just like ults to Narnia, makes up, set overcommit a lot, like to clean up the fights. He's just like horrible. But I'm glad we have Vladi. I'm glad we have Caps. We need new blood into the scene because the old blood it's getting a little bit rusty. I don't think Caps has more, like maybe Caps can like win summer and win spring and maybe go to worlds again. But I don't think he has like so many years left in him. He's pretty old. He's getting old. He's just like he doesn't have it anymore. How many years do you need to carry a region to like actually win something? He doesn't have the pieces around him to do something in this year for internationals. I don't know what pieces G2 actually needs to switch to actually become the unstoppable force they once were, but I think they will never get that again. Now, that being said, this roster looks insane. Outside of Targamas, and I'm not hating on him just to hate on him. I just like have something for this player. I think like as a choke factor, he's like the weak piece here, right? He's like the weak piece. Amazing series from both him and Kalist here, but when they fail, I think it's a lot around him, and the support will look bad in games that your team loses, right? You will look bad because you will engage, your team will not have damage, you will die a lot. I just hope like regaining Kalist, because I know they play together and they loved playing together. I just like hope regaining this Kalist guy, right? The young prince, the new blood, will help Targamas like be the player he was promised. So I still have trust in him. It's just like I have question marks around him. Just like I hope he gets to the level he was promised, right? Because when he came into the league, he was like very hyped, right? And I hope he has like 1 or 2 good years. Yike, I'm just impressed with him. You know, I was a hater because I loved Yankos. I grew up with Yankos, right? I'm watching Yankos since I was like 15, you know? I was like starting to play the game. I was 15 years old when I started watching Yankos. Basically, I grew up with him. He's basically kind of the same age I am, right? We are both old men. And you know, when you're a player who you grew up with, just like it's like, you know, I was watching Yankos since he was like the first Blood King in Rocket, right? How many of you even know of Rocket? Drop that in the comments below. Like, how many of you even know about Rocket? Just saying, you know. So I'm watching Yankos since Rocket was here, and yeah, we lost Yankos and we got Yike, and I was like, hey, this team cannot die. I can do that. Yankos is so good, and I still love Yankos. I great respect for the guy. He is one of the GOATs of Europe by far. It's not even close. I consider him in like my top 5 best junglers of all times. I don't care what other people say. To stay at the level Yankos stayed for so many years, it's something very few players do, even less junglers, because the meta changed so much over the years, and he stayed on top of the game for 8 years. For 8 years, that guy was good. He was at semifinals in 2016. He was in semifinal at Worlds in 2016. He was in semifinals at Worlds and final as Worlds 2019, 2022, 2020. Like, he was in top of the game for so many years. You can just not take that away from him. Yeah. So when Yai came, I was just like skeptical, and G2 prepared him well. And you gotta respect G2 this year. What they did this year, I just applaud. They did something amazing. Now, they might have failed this series, but you need to understand, they let Yike go to a competition. They let Yike go to K Corp. No more shenanigans, no more contract jails, no. They let Yike go to K Corp. Look how much good that did. They let Mickey X go to Fnatic. Hey, Fnatic might have not be the greatest team ever in these playoffs, but they still go to like semifinals, basically to a game 5 in semifinals. I don't like Humanoid, but I still like, again, I want my third best team. I want this competition, because you need to remember, back in 2019, back in 2020, back in 2018, you had G2, you had Splice, you had Fnatic, just like boom, boom, boom. You had the fourth team who was just like striking and playing, and you can take games out of them, right? You need at least 3 good teams in a region. Like, you need 3 good teams who can just like knock them one they can knock each other out, right? If Fnatic wins the next split, and then G2 wins the summer, and then the finals we have for Europe, a very bad system. It's just like so convoluted. Then the final is get by one of the other two, just like bam, 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 just like switch punches. We are better now, and we are better now, and we are better now. Just like boom, 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 just like switch titles. Because when G2 wins all the time, or even like, let's say it was not G2, it was Fnatic, or it's Cape Corp for the next 4 years, it just gets stale. Everybody just loses trust. You get to a final, like, how can we beat these guys? They beat everybody before us. We lost the first game. It's a mental game too, and you just like disprove yourself, and you don't trust yourself, and you don't trust your teammates, and you think like, if my top laner fails, then I will never get back into this game because these guys never throw a game. It's just like this concept of invincibility does so much on the brain, right? It does so much on the brain, and that's why you need these like title changes. You need a better team in here, right? Like, how much you want to hate like Genji, or like right, Hanwha Life, for knocking down T1. I know everybody loves T1, but for knocking down T1 in the LCK, that did good to T1, because when T1 got to Worlds, it's not like they came from a zone of comfort, thinking they were invincible. No, they came from a place of defeat, from a place that they knew, hey, you are not the best. We need to fight tooth and nail for every inch, because there are teams that can beat us. They beat us all year long, and for us to win, we actually need to be better. And that's how you win in the long term. That's how you overcome certain things that will happen to you, right? That's what you need. You need competition, and you need competition internally, because it's too little for us to just like run Europe, haha, it's fun and jokes, and right? Like the KC Corp fans, don't be so happy about this win, because it's a good win. It's something great to happen to the players. It's a confidence boost, but you also need to understand, G2 not playing well today is not the greatest thing that can happen, right? You wanted this to be a 3-0 clean sweep. Sure, you can want that for your team, but versus a big G2 will have been so much sweeter. Like, I don't mean here fails, I just like mean trades. It felt like G2 was out of air today, and that it's just like obvious, you know? You cannot like, G2 beat KC last week, right? And it looked pretty easy. It still looked like a very easy series from G2. So how can I say who's like the better team as of right now? You can't, but like, this is the system. KC simply look good on the day they needed to look good, and they, again, I really hope we get a Fnatic that is better next split. I hope G2 doesn't choke in a finals again. I hope that this K Corp will hold on to this level, and don't just like think they are the king of the world because they won this series, because it's not like that. It's not like that. And yeah, good luck to them in the international that comes. I will just like put all my energy and send it to them, because I am first and the most just like a European fan who wants us to be good. I don't care if it's G2, I don't care if it's KC, I don't care if it's Fnatic, I don't care if it's BDS. Of course, like for example, if G2 won, it would have been a little bit sweeter for me. But it's still gonna be sweet if we beat those Koreans, if we beat those Chinese, if we beat that like American guys, just like, because we need those wins. We really need these wins. We need these wins, and it's so healthy for the competition, for us to actually be good and be a contender, because people get a little bit bored over the years if nothing changes. I believe deep down inside, even the most fired up LCK watcher will kind of smile a little bit if like a European team comes and like sweeps a final in a international competition, because that's how narratives are built. That's why uh, Faker and Showmaker and every Korean could only talk about G2 for a year there after they won the MSI, after they went to finals, because G2 beat the fuck out of the Koreans for 2 years there, and that fired people up. That fired people up. So yeah, we need competition. We don't need the best team. We need 3 or 4 good teams. Remember, G2 2018 came out as a 4th place. Nobody believed in them. They were losers. They were goddamn losers. Best semifinals Europe ever put on at the international championship, right? They took out RNG, and it was just like one of the greatest series ever. With the Heimerdinger, 1-trick AD carry, and we won. You know, I love this game. I really do. I love to watch it. I love to see stories. I want us to win. You know, I just like, I want us to win. I don't want this game to end. It was this story with the Hextech chest and everything that happened. I really want us to win. You know, I feel like this game might be dying if Riot doesn't play its cards well. You know, it's like, it's hard. You know, it's hard to keep a game alive for like so many years if you drop the ball, because the market is sensible. You never know when the big thing comes out and you just like, it kills you. I hope it never happens. I really love this game. I want to play this game with my kids if I have some, and you know, and I want us to win at least once. You know, maybe even NA, right? If they are good, just like win it once. Just like create competition, create fire, create storylines, create something that is beautiful. Maybe I didn't talk so much about the games. There's not much to be told. You know, G2 just looked bad today. It is what it is. KC, all the praise to them. Amazing series, amazing players, amazing new blood. Very proud of every single one of them. I'm proud to have them as our representatives. Hey, G2, you want to win? Just like grind more. Also, a very important last point I want to make. Every single one of these 10 players, Broken Blade, Skewmont, Caps, Hansama, Lebrov, Kana, Yike, Vladi, Kalist, Targamas, they are the highest ranked players from LEC in terms of like simply LP, solo queue, right? And that shows grinding is everything, even when you are a pro player. You cannot be the best if you don't grind the most. Stop disrespecting. Fight for your place. Fight for it. Like for the rest of the teams, right? It's just like so obvious that grinding is still the key of success. I don't care how good you are, Humanoid. Start fucking grinding, because I want you to clap Caps, to clap Vladi, but I want it to be deserved. I know you will never watch this video. I know you will think everybody hates you. I don't hate you for failing. I hate you because it feels like you never try. Have a nice one. Like, share, follow, and subscribe.